Hey, good morning to you. It's Thursday here, 8:42 at iFiber One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey. Hope you're having a good start to your day. We focus on Shelton, brought to you by our community credit union. Two great guests in studio today, Wheaton and Brent Armstrong. Good morning, guys.
Morning, Jeff.
Morning.
Brent is Public Works, works at Public Works at the wastewater treatment plant, and Ryan's the city manager for the city of Shelton. And you guys have had some pretty important and what seems to be highly attended meetings over the last couple weeks here, talking about big issues in the city.
We have. We've heard a lot over last year that people want us to communicate better, and we thought we were doing a good enough job on Facebook because it seems to be the place that everybody in town hangs out.
Yeah, that's it.
And we decided a few months ago, we mentioned that we wanted to remind people that they're real live human beings that work for the city and invite them down, and we've done that now 3 times in the last month and a half or so. We had Shelton Out Loud about a month ago, and then last week we had 2. We had one with Brent attended and helped out with to discuss water and sewer rates, and then we had one on our downtown connector project.
Well, let's start with you, Brent, on the water and sewer rates, and I know there's been a couple of options put forth to the commission on what they can do with that, but how was the meeting? How was it received from the public, and what were some of the things that you heard from the folks in the community?
I think a lot of it was just clarification on what's been going on and what all this new infrastructure that we developed meant and what it provided. And along with that, it's how is it run is what I'm getting to a lot. We put in a massive amount of infrastructure, and along with that it comes with we need people to actually manage that and do O&M on the pumps and equipment that we have now, so we can keep that infrastructure as good as it is when we get it.
This was a major upgrade, 07, 06, 08, kind of early, right before the big recession that hit everyone very hard, and now we're kind of slowly all working out of it some 10 years later. But yeah, this was a needed project and top of the line, so you got to have the qualifications for the workers to be able to check this. It's not like sewer and pipes and things of years gone by. It's pretty high tech, right?
Yes, and it's still ongoing. With Basin 3 being part of it is the next phase of it. But a lot of it was just the biological process at the plant needed to be upgraded, and now that we've done that, we're attacking getting some of the flow issues. With Basin 3, we have a lot of I&I, which is inflow and infiltration, that creates massive fluctuations in our flows of just groundwater. If we don't need to treat that groundwater, we'd rather not.
So water, when we get rain like this, or rain like we'll see over the next couple of days, that'll soak into the ground system there and then get into the pipes? Is that kind of how it works, or not anymore?
Yeah, it gets in through the pipes, through old concrete pipes, through cracks, through holes in the pipes. And it really doesn't affect for a good month, because the ground has to get saturated, and then tide actually affects it also.
Oh, wow.
The groundwater levels. So if we can remedy that, that's where we gain capacities. That was some of the issues that some of the questions were at that meeting, was how do we gain capacities? And we gained a little bit with the upgrades, but more of it was biological capacity than actual flow.
And it seems like, I mean, we're talking millions and tens of millions of dollars, and that can be hard for folks to kind of grapple with when it comes to, they hear about the debt and things like that. But once you get a chance to talk with them about what you're doing at the treatment plant and what it does for the city, people understand that it's a necessity that we had to go through, and unfortunately it happened at a pretty poor time.
Yep. And we're kind of the not thought about process until
something
happens. If your toilet doesn't flush, the first thing you do is call us.
Yeah.
But we're out there all the time making sure that infrastructure is there and running properly, so the toilets will flush and we don't pollute anything.
Nice. Okay.
It's nice. Sometimes we don't build the glitzy stuff. We don't build new schools are great and hospitals are great. Some of the infrastructure that people are excited about is not really our business. Brent's right. We do the things that you expect to work every time, and when they don't work, we hear about those. I know that when I go down to either wastewater treatment plant or to the shop or to the satellite plant, you see a small crew doing a very large job for 10,000 people, and as long as nobody notices a problem, they assume that everything's working well. But one of the first things Brent told me when I started was, we've invested tens of millions of dollars in this infrastructure. I don't have the people to cut the weeds in the summer and make sure that we actually make this place look like it did when we built it. So they're doing the best they can down there, and I think that the unfortunate part for people here is that we spent about 90% of our debt in sewer infrastructure, and it's not something that they can see. The wastewater treatment plant's out of the way, so it's not something they drive by every day, and it's not something they notice. Their pipes were a lot of times replaced, but again, that's not something they see. They just know that when they flush the toilet, it works like it did before.
Yeah, wow, that's a good point, and I encourage folks to learn about these systems and how they work, because they do affect you daily. For sure. The other project that you guys talked about was the connector project, going from downtown to up the hill there, and I had a chance to talk with Craig Gregory a little bit about that before the presentation, and his slides were really nicely laid out, and I was able to kind of really understand what he was talking about there. How'd the public come away with that?
From what I got, listening to people as they asked questions, and also I talked to about a quarter of the people that were there. We had a great turnout. It was about 70 or 80 people showed up. And as they left, I tried to catch as many people as I could to thank them. We had a very positive reception. We had some critical questions, which I think you will when you get a project of this magnitude, which is really a generational project. We don't plan to do this street again. We're talking all the way from Mickey's Deli to Skipworth's, which is a huge component of how people move across the city. And I thought the questions were good. We were there for about 90 minutes, and most of it was Q&A. We did provide 3 before and afters, with the after being a mock-up of what that street might look like. We had 2 of our great partners there. We had MTA and PUD3. We're both in attendance answering questions. So we came away with understanding that, 1, this is the best attended event that we've done.
Nice.
So we understand that this is an important project for the city. And also, we understand that people are very interested in what this looks like. We heard that we want some more potential speed control, and we want people made it very clear that they want us to make sure that we look at some of the things that we had kind of crossed off the list. We asked the roundabout question. Craig asked that, and which is always a dicey question to ask in public.
And we ran behind the screen.
We were surprised, though, because we really had a split. We had half the crowd that said they liked it, and half the crowd that said they didn't. So it's not something that right now we can fit in that project, but it helps us as we look to the next project of what might be possible. And we're getting close.
Nice.
I think the 17th is the date to hear back on this grant. And if we get it, it means a substantial project will be done in Shelton next year in addition to Basin 3. So these projects would hopefully be done by the same company, and we could run them together to get some cost savings for the people here.
Very nice. I'll put the links to both the water and sewer rate update from the group there and the connector project presentation PDF there on our show notes for this interview here today. So Ryan, Brent, thanks for coming on.
Our pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you guys.